And I think once that knowledge came, I was like, okay, we're going to do this. It just surprised me. I said, wow, I wasn't going to let sugar win. I mean, I have a bad relationship with sugar and I can't afford to eat inflammatory foods. That's why I said, oh my goodness, I've been harming myself, self-sabotaging for a long, long time. So I understand now how I was diagnosed with diabetes. I can understand because I've been neglecting myself, neglecting my body.
So if you are new to this podcast series, the one where I have been following Nicole Powers, a woman who has decided to commit to her health, to her family's health, well, then you are in for a treat with this episode. This is the third one in the series that we're doing. And so if you haven't listened to the previous ones, don't worry, this one's still going to be incredible, but definitely go back and listen to the first two. The thing is, even though you are getting this front row seat in real time to a person who is going from disease to complete empowerment, she wasn't completely honest with me during the last episode. And she admitted that to me today. So I'm excited to be able to share with you what she shared with me, that she hadn't been completely truthful with me or with herself. And what's incredible is that that level of awareness is exactly what transformation actually looks like. This is why a simple meal plan and diet is never going to get you where you need to go. Nicole, in this episode, opens up about what she was really feeling, how much has changed since we began this journey, and some other surprising things that people are starting to notice in her too. It's incredible that when you're finally aligned with where you want to go, people start to notice. So whether you've been following along or whether you're joining us for the very first time, you're going to hear a woman choosing to rise in real time. Let's dive in. Well, we are back for our third episode with Nicole Powers, who has volunteered to allow us some insight into her decision to change her family tree, to get healthy, to actually learn how to become the healthiest version of herself. We've never done this before. I've had clients, so many clients over the years that have been guests on my podcast that have talked about the changes. They've talked about the transformations. They've talked about their new identity in who they are as a healthy person. But we've never had anybody actually allow us to walk with them and record their experiences as they're doing it. So just as a reminder, if you haven't tuned into the last few episodes with Nicole, she came to us broken, at literal death's door and hopeless, with 3 kids, a single mom. She was worried for her life. But not only that, she knew that her kids were going to end up going down that same road as her because all she could do was teach them what she knew. And as a diabetic, as somebody that was literally diagnosed with all the things. If you just go down the checklist, right, Nicole,
Right.
You have all the things going on top of epilepsy. So therefore, she isn't able to work. This was the time, it was like the time that she drew her line in the sand and said, this is it. I have to do this. And we didn't know the results. We didn't know what was going to happen. We just said, will you let us into your life and allow us to see your experience, how you're doing this with your kids, what is actually happening. So this is our third episode in the series. And so Nicole, you are about, 6 weeks or so into your transformation right now. Am I right?
Yeah. Week 5. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So as we kind of unpack, the last time we talked, I think you undersold how you were really feeling. You were not feeling great at all. You are like one of the strongest women I know. And you were like, I'm not feeling great, but you were still really positive. I know how grateful you are for this journey, but you weren't feeling good. Tell us the truth about how you were really feeling.
I felt horrible, but I didn't know what was happening to me. I knew my body was doing something, but I didn't know what it was. But I felt horrible. I was in a haze, a fog. I was sleepy. I was weak. I wasn't motivated. I felt like I could lay down in bed and sleep for 24 hours.
How long did that last for you?
It lasted probably about I would say a good 3 days. I felt like it came on pretty sudden. I learned that it was sugar withdrawal. And the way I learned that is because I had tested my sugar. My sugar was normal. It was 126. So I learned that it was
Which is
actually,
amazing because
yeah,
you've gone off of the Ozempic
yeah,
and your sugar, you're eating all day long
yeah.
and your sugars are completely normal,
My
which
sugars are
is
normal.
awesome. Okay.
Yes. But during Thanksgiving, I wasn't hungry. I came to family to have dinner, and I had some meat. But I did have a little bit of a candy yams, which is sweet potato. We were able to reintegrate foods. That was part of our, lesson. And I didn't eat a lot, but I noticed after I ate it, maybe like that day after, I started to feel a little bit better. And then I said, well, I'll try it the next day. And then I started to feel a little bit better. And then it dawned on me, oh, you were having sugar withdrawals like a real addict. So I don't smoke, I don't drink. And then it just surprised me. I said, wow. And I think once that knowledge came, I was like, okay, we're going to do this. Let's stop. Let's go back to, the first 28 days. We're not going to do the sweet potato. Let's just go back to simple. Your meat, your protein.
Yeah. And I think this is what's so interesting about what was happening to you is that if you think about what your lifestyle is like now, what you're choosing to fuel your body with versus what you were doing before, which
Yeah,
is so interesting because I remember you were saying when you were looking at the list of like inflammatory foods, like the amount of learning you've been doing over these
yeah,
last 5+ weeks has been
yeah,
really incredible. And you were like, when you looked at the list of inflammatory foods that we were trying to kind of eliminate for the first month or so to try to just really get your body back to what I like to say its factory settings,
right.
you were like, I've been eating everything on this list,
True. That's
right?
true. Right.
And being diagnosed diabetic and really having, I mean, symptoms, and I mean, we could just keep going on the diagnoses, but the diabetes is the first piece of the puzzle in terms of recognizing how much your body has had to try to deal with the blood sugar roller coaster you've been on for your
Yeah.
entire life.
Entirely.
And I mean, you're relatively young
Yeah.
to have the amount of disease and the level of diabetes that you have
Yes.
means that it's just been a long time. So now, and this is what's so interesting, it's like you're starting to eat clean, whole, unprocessed foods, balancing your blood sugar, you're eating carbohydrates, but really have been focusing more on fruits and vegetables along with your proteins and your fats. And
Right.
your body was like, whoa, woman,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
And I really applaud you for saying, I'm going to keep moving forward with this because some people will be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm
Yeah.
like hurting myself. And I'm like, let's be real honest with you, with
Yeah.
yourself. I had a very close family member go through actual detox from an addiction. And while she was healthier by not using the drugs, her body repulsed.
Connected, probably.
It was like fighting back
Yeah.
because it was so used to this intake of drugs, and that's what your body was doing. And it was really interesting for you to have about 3 days of it and then get yourself back in. And now, how are you feeling?
I feel much better. I feel much better. And I'm glad that I know what was going on because I think once I learned what it was, it just shifted everything for me. And I said, I'm fighting back. It's plain and simple. I wasn't going to let sugar win. I mean, I have a bad relationship with sugar and I can't afford to eat inflammatory foods. That's why I said, oh my goodness, I've been harming myself, self-sabotaging for probably all my life, for a long, long time. So I understand now how I was diagnosed with diabetes. I can understand because, I've been not neglecting myself, neglecting my body.
And can you see how even with the medication that you were on, how because you weren't changing any of your lifestyle, there was no way you were actually going to turn that around. You were just going to slow down the drip, right?
Exactly. It's like hitting a brick wall. I'm taking the medication, but at the same time, I'm not doing any changes with my diet or anything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would walk a little bit and stuff like that, but it wasn't helping. It wasn't helping. That was even one thing.
So you have been eating and balancing your blood sugar through food through the method of PFC3, eating a protein, fat, and carb every 3 hours based on hunger, really functioning on not being too hungry and not being too full, kind of
Right.
eating until satisfied and having that level of satisfaction. This is one of the things that I want to ask you, because when you first started, you were saying like you would go like almost all day
Yeah.
without eating and
Yeah.
then like really binge at night,
Yeah.
right? Have you been feeling that level of satisfaction, and is that foreign to you?
What do you mean? Foreign, like not being
Like
hungry or eating
like
every 3 hours?
this feeling. So I hear a lot of times when women will say to me, like, I I don't eat at all until I'm really, really, really hungry. And then I overeat and then I'm over full. So we get used to this feeling of being super hungry or super full. And you, as we've been working together, you haven't been really, really hungry or
Right. You know,
really, really full. And
right.
that might feel like feeling satisfied might feel new to you, right? And that's what I wonder. That's why I'm saying, is it foreign? Is it weird to feel like that satisfaction all day without feeling that level of hunger and that level of fullness?
It's not. And the only reason why I would say it's not is because I've tried diet pills before. So diet pills give you that false reality, that false perception of not wanting to eat, So I feel satisfied. I don't feel full. I don't feel hungry. And I've recently just started saying, hey, it's time for me to eat. I don't have to use my meal reminder because my stomach could grumble a little bit. I'm like, oh, it must be 3 hours, 4 hours. It's time for me to eat. So now,
We talked about that last
yeah,
time.
we
I
did.
said that that's going to start to happen.
We did. And because I'm giving my body what it needs, I'm not craving sugar. So that's another reason why when I was going through withdrawal like that, I didn't understand it. It's like, I'm not craving sugar. I didn't know that my body was saying, this is what I want. But remember, I don't know if you remember, but I told you I was dreaming it. I was going to bed and I was waking up and I was dreaming that I was eating pancakes and hash browns. And yeah, I was having these dreams, but yeah, I felt it. I felt that, Carrie. That was crazy to me just because
Yeah, it's
you
so
know,
interesting.
yeah.
I love being able to walk through this with you. But that's what I have talked about for so long. One of the things that I hear all the time around people that are on Ozempic, Wegovy, or any of those weight loss drugs is that they say that the food noise goes away, that they're finally not feeling like they're always hungry or looking for something, but it's because it suppresses appetite.
Yeah.
But what you're doing naturally by fueling your body, you're getting that same result, but in a healthy way. Doesn't
Yeah.
that feel great? Is that empowering?
Yeah, it does. It does. It feels great. It feels normal. It feels like I'm doing something healthy the right way. Like I'm not cheating. I'm not taking diet pills. I'm not trying to do a quick fix. Like I'm learning now how to live healthy. And I'm
And you
grateful for
can't
that.
unknow this stuff,
Right.
right? Like you can't unlearn it. And
Right.
it's so exciting. So if you've been around for a while, you know I'm obsessed with ingredients that actually work with your body instead of against it. And one of the things that I am really obsessed with is elderberry. Elderberry has actually been used for generations. It supports immunity. And the thing is, not all elderberry products are created equal. That's why I only get my elderberry from Amelia at All Things Elderberry. They make everything in small batches. She's a mom. She cares about real, clean ingredients, staying away from all the artificial fillers and sugars. And my kids actually take it to college with them. When they run out, they're like, Mom, I need more elderberry. They never get sick. And if they get a little bit of a cold, it's like they make sure they just, really double down on their elderberry and they heal almost right away. It is amazing. They taste amazing. They're crafted with integrity and they are a staple in our house. So if you want to try it, you can get 15% off your first order. We will drop the link below. Use the code Carrie Lipoli at checkout for All Things Elderberry. You mentioned to me before we came on that people have been noticing changes in your body.
Yeah.
And so I love that because I know that that's one of the things that we're always looking for, right? How can I lose the weight that has been kind of holding me back? But I will always say until your body actually gets healthy and starts to trust you, it's not going to release weight in a healthy way because it's holding on to it to protect you. but
Right.
you're starting to see actual physical changes. People
Yeah.
are noticing. Tell us about that.
My tummy is my area of concern the most. I've always been very, very insecure with my stomach. So I haven't noticed a big difference, but my mother and everybody around me, and they're like, wow, I can definitely see a difference because maybe because just the self-sabotage I had been doing with my eating. It could have been my liver. My tummy has always been swollen. I've had a swollen tummy similar to like pregnancy. So it would sit kind of high and tight. So now it's actually beginning to drop. It's beginning to drop lower, and then I'm beginning to come in this way. So I could definitely see a difference. And yeah, and a lot of people are noticing it. My mom said, "Oh, you're busting that gut," and she told me, she said, "I know you're doing it the right way." She said because it's coming off slowly. It's not something that you're rushing to do or you're not cheating. She said, "Just keep up the good work." So yeah,
Yeah.
she
It's
went.
consistency over time.
Yeah. 1% better every day. Yeah. And keep that at the
Every
forefront of my
single
mind
day.
too. Yes.
You know, as a mom, you know this story, right? Because when you have a kid and you're with them every day, right? And you take pictures of them and stuff like that, then like at the end of the school year, for example, you go back and look at maybe their first day of school picture and you're like, wow, they
Yeah.
were so little back then. And you don't realize all the changes that they've
Yeah.
gone through over the year
Yeah.
because you see them every day. This is what I see with women. We don't always see all the changes, especially because we say, like, I don't want you to have a scale. I want you to start to become intuitive and relational and understanding your own body, appreciate your body, be grateful for your body. Don't let a number define you. And so that means you have to be really connected with your body. And when you see it every single day, you're
Yeah.
not going to necessarily notice all those changes. But when someone doesn't see you quite as often as you see you, they will start to recognize some of those physical changes that might be harder for you to see.
Yeah. Yeah. And they are. My sister notices too.
That's so great. All right. So speaking of the kids,
Yes.
I love that you've got your kids involved. And the last time we were connected, and I've been getting a few videos from your kids, and I love being able to see them interacting. Tell us how they're doing, what you've been doing as you've been learning, because the idea was not that it was like the kids are
Yeah.
learning exactly the way you are and implementing in all of the same ways, but you are a model, you are a mentor, you are a coach, you're teaching them as you're learning. So tell us how that's been going.
Oh, they're so excited now. My son, he started from the jump with making the protein shakes and making
The
his
oldest
siblings.
one, right?
Yeah, my oldest making his siblings protein shakes. Now with my daughter, she's more excited because I got her a lunchbox for school because she was not eating. So now she's like, okay, mom, we just had taco bowls. And she's like, can I take a taco bowl? Can I take that? And I'm like, sure, let's go. Let's do it. So she's super excited about that. And my youngest,
And she's been, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to say that you've done this so well. And I want moms to hear this. This is not about a set of rules a kid needs to learn. It is a way of thinking about food and their bodies. And you're slowly integrating that, allowing them to make their own choices. Because your daughter doesn't eat lunch in the middle of the day. She doesn't like the school food. She doesn't feel comfortable eating lunch. But as she's been learning, she made the decision to take lunch to school and what she was going to take. And I love that you didn't force that on her, but as a mentor, as an educator, she's making her own decisions based on your influence and mentorship. That's kudos to you, Nicole. That's amazing.
thank you. Yeah, she is. So she's excited about it. She was there in the beginning too with the shakes. It's just that she wasn't
Yeah.
eating at school. But now, yeah, she's making her lunch and she's happy and excited about it and thinking about the next thing she can make for lunch the next day. So, yeah.
This is so much progress. Okay, what about your little one?
My little one, he's hungry all the time. Mom, I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So we're just trying with him. I'm just, I'm teaching him. I'm letting him again, at the little tomatoes and, make his bowl too. But I don't know if he wants to eat out of boredom because he's growing or just because he's hungry. So he kind of just eats what we eat at dinner. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it would be interesting to see, especially for kids who may have had a tendency to eat out of boredom or to snack out of, just sort of like a lifestyle,
Yeah.
to kind of see how he is when he's occupied, like maybe when he's with friends or he's hanging out or doing something he really wants to do versus when he's home kind of not doing anything. And if he has that same level of hunger, we know it's true hunger. If he's reaching out and he's hungry on during certain types of lifestyle days, then it may be more about emotional eating. So it's just a way for you to kind of gauge that a little bit.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And you know
Yep.
what? When he's active and out skating or something like that, he doesn't ask to eat. It is normally when he's at home, maybe TV lounging, watching TV or something like that, that he wants to. And he actually, I'm noticing too with him, Carrie, that he has a bad relationship with sugar too. And I don't think it's that we fed it to him like that. I'm looking at it as, is this something hereditary that may have passed down? Does he have that same horrible spirit that I had? Because my other two kids, they don't have it like he does, but he's wild about sweets. He's just sweet, 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 sweets.
It is when you think about processed foods, it is made to be extremely, extremely addictive. And while you have 3 kids that are growing up in the same house, they are each growing up in a different home. And I want you to think about that a little bit, right? Your 18-year-old, when 18 years ago, or let's talk 11 years ago, when he was an only child, right? Or,
yeah.
like when he was 7, the same age right now as your youngest, life looked very different for all of you, right? Then you have a second child and life gets a little bit harder, a little bit more chaotic. Yeah. Then you have a third child. And sometimes we let things go a little bit more. Sometimes we have to do a variety of things to be able to make up for the lack of time. And it could very well be that you have 3 different kids that grew up in different homes.
Yeah.
Simply because of the time in your life that they were being raised. And what I will say, that food even 18 years ago had different ingredients than the same food now. Mac and cheese in the box was different when your son was little than when your youngest son is little, because we continue to over process food. So I would say that one of the pieces that I do when we're educating kids is to say, if you feel hungry, you should eat. And we want to make sure you're balancing your meal. So where's your protein? Where's your fat? Where's your carb? You have the PFC cards now, right?
Yeah.
So I would encourage you to say to him, okay, use the cards, pick a meal. And then he actually has to engage in a decision making. And then he will be able to determine, is it really hunger or is it boredom?
Gotcha.
So,
gotcha.
That could be, and you can just pull out the cards that you have the ingredients for,
right?
So that he can choose from these, and you have all of these in the house. And
we did that when we did the taco bowls.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. I love that. I love that.
We did.
So let's just dig into a little bit about how you are feeling when it comes to what you're recognizing with your mindsets. You had mentioned to me that you just did the lesson on self-sabotage and it really hit home. Tell us a little bit about how you're realizing self-sabotage has shown up in your life.
That's what I love about this program, because it's I learned that mindset and behavior go together, and it affects how I see food and how I receive what I'm supposed to be doing. Like my mindset says, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to go eat right now. Just lay down, and it's like I'm saying, I know I need to get up. This is our program, Nicole. Get up, go make the protein shake. Drink the protein shake, take the kids to school, come home. You don't have to lay down in the bed. But my mindset wants to do everything that I'm familiar with, what's comfortable, because naturally I don't want to wake up at 5:30 and get my kids dressed and take them to school.
Yeah.
So, when I drop them off,
because you're not working, right? You're not working. So you don't have this level of accountability where you have to be at a job, right?
Exactly. So when I come in, I want to go back to sleep. But now it's like, no, you can't. But my mindset is saying, just lay down. You don't have to eat. You're not hungry, and I'm learning that that's a form of self-sabotage. And so now I'm at the stage that I'm fighting that. So at first it was the sugar withdrawal. Now it's like, okay, let me get this thing let me get this thing again. This is the next phase. I'm fighting that mindset and that the behavior, the bad behaviors, where I would normally just lay down and go to sleep and not eat all day. And then I ate when my kids came home. But now it's like I have to be accountable for me now, and I'm
Yeah,
learning.
it's true. It's really true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the thing about self-sabotage, and I wrote all about this in my book that's coming out, is that it's actually a form of self-protection. Self-sabotage probably isn't even the right way to describe it. It's self-protection. Your body will go with what's familiar, what's easiest, what's simpler, instead of really pushing past its comfort zone. And
Wow.
what you're doing right now is completely past its comfort zone. And so your body innately, unconsciously does not want to do anything that's new. It feels weird. It feels different. Think about it. It's like you had to suddenly move to a new city, right? And you had to go to even just a new grocery store. It would feel weird. You'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't really know where I'm going. Think about I know if I am invited to a party and I'm excited about going to this party, then the day of the party comes and I'm like, I don't want to go.
Right.
I don't want to go because it's going to be new people and new things. And the brain innately doesn't like new.
Right.
But so it's really just in an effort to protect you. And so here's what I want you to think about. And I love this as we do our podcast, that it can be a moment of a coaching opportunity as well that other people can learn from. There's a difference between self-care and self-comfort. So self-care moves you forward. So when you get up to go make your shake in the morning instead of sleeping, you are moving forward. Self-care is not selfish, because when you move forward, your life and your influence moves forward as well. But self-comfort is exactly what you just said. It's comfortable. It's easy. It's just so simple. And self-comfort might be scrolling on our phone, might be sleeping longer. The stuff that doesn't exert that much energy or cognitive lift is self-comfort. Now, sometimes we all need that, but self-comfort doesn't move us forward. And so if we keep going after self-comfort instead of self-care, we are actually sabotaging our future.
Wow.
So I would reframe it to say, this is self-care, as opposed to get up, make yourself a shake. This is how I care for myself and I love myself. And self-care moves me forward. What do you think about that?
I love that. I love that. Yes. Yeah, I loved it.
So we're going to do some reframing each day when you don't feel like getting up, and you can really work to say, am I choosing self-care or self-comfort today?
Right.
Because self-comfort is actually selfish more often than not, right? Like, it's just like ignoring all the things that we have to do for our body or for our lives and just taking a time to zone out. It's fine. We should all be a little selfish sometimes. But if we choose that more often than self-care, then we will not move forward. We will actually move backwards.
Wow.
We're always moving in a 1% direction. We're either 1% progression or a 1% regression.
Wow.
And you have been on a 1% progression. Even if you take 2 steps backwards, you are still taking steps forward every single day. And that's what self-care is all about. So I'm very proud of you. And I love how you've been really building your self-awareness to recognize what's happening to you.
Yeah. And I love how you explained that, because, once you have a different way of thinking, you say, okay, it gives you something to kind of fight back with when it comes to your mind, how you think and your behavior. So yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Well, because Nicole, I could have showed you exactly how to eat PFC3, told you how to do your body and movement and exercise, tell you how much water to drink, tell you to mitigate your stress, tell you to get better sleep, all of the things that we have been told over and over and over again. And there's a reason why we don't do it, because our mindsets, our behavioral strategies, understanding why we do what we do, that's the stuff that really it matters when it comes to showing up full time for ourselves.
Right. Right. And now, even when you talk about self-comfort, so self-comfort had me regressing all these years. Even when I was trying the quick fixes, I'm still going backward because I was relying on self-comfort, doing what I felt like I wanted to do instead of self-care. So it's like, wow, that's crazy. Okay.
So I love that. So the next time we talk, we can actually just dig a little bit more and say, how has that been helping you?
Yeah.
How has that been allowing you to actually show up for yourself in maybe even a more willing way? Because if you've been grinding to show up for yourself, you're not going to do it forever.
Right.
And you've got to do this forever. So we've got to find a way to get you really invested in this. I know that you're afraid of dying, but also the short-term comfort will often weigh out because the long-term consequence just feels far away. The nap right now doesn't feel like you're really going to have to deal with the long-term issues. You can always show back up in another hour. You can just take a little nap right now, right?
Right.
And so that's what we end up telling ourselves instead of telling ourselves, am I moving forward? And is what I'm doing allowing me to move forward?
Right.
So.
And I think too, I give myself so many excuses. You're a mom of 3. You're tired. Take the nap. It's like, take accountability. Okay. Get up and have some self-care.
I love it. Well, we're going to keep working on this. We're going to keep getting updates from you. I love that. To be very honest with you, right? The food ends up being the easy part at the end of the day. Once you get into the rhythm, it's the actual allowing a lifestyle to permeate your identity that is typically the challenging part. So the next time we talk, we're really going to dig more into that. I can't wait to see and hear more about your physical changes, what the kids are experiencing.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful that you're here sharing your experience with us, and we will see you again next time.
Thank you so much.